Ready? Oh, be careful, little eyes, what you see. Oh, be careful, little eyes, what you see. Because you might end up on a roof staring at a girl named Bathsheba, and you're like, oh, who's that? And she's like, that's Bathsheba, she's married to Uriah. And you're like, Uriah, bring her in, I want to check her out, let's see what this is all about. And Bathsheba comes to your house, and you're like, Bathsheba, what's up, girl? And then you seal the deal with Bathsheba, and you sleep with her, and they're like, she's married. And you're like, it's cool, I'm David. And so she comes back later, and she's like, I'm pregnant. And you're like, no, you're pregnant, that's not good at all. And she's like, I'm pregnant, what are we going to do? And he's like, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. I'm going to bring your boy Uriah, your husband, back in. So Uriah comes back in, and you're like, Uriah, hey, how's war? But secretly you want him to really sleep with his wife so he can think that he's the baby daddy, but he doesn't want to sleep with her. He said, I can't sleep with her. I have men that are in war right now, sleeping on the floor. How could I possibly sleep with my wife with those men sleeping in the dirt? I will not do it. And you're like, no, Uriah, sleep with your wife. She's smoking hot. Why won't you do it? Come back tomorrow. Let's talk about war some more. So he comes back the next day, and you're like, I'm going to get Uriah drunk, so we'll do what I want him to do. And he comes, and you say, Uriah, here's about alcohol. Get drunk. And Uriah's like, I'm drunk, but I'm still not sleeping with my wife. And you're like, no, why would you sleep with your wife? I need you to sleep with your wife so you can think you're the baby daddy. But he won't do it. He refuses to do it because he says, my men are at war. I am noble. I am honorable. I will not do it. I refuse to do it. So you're like, okay, here's a sealed envelope. Take the sealed envelope with you all the way back to Joab. Give it to Joab, but don't look at it until don't look at it at all. Give it to Joab. So Joab opens it up and it says, put Uriah in the front of the lines. March them to the front. When you get there, retreat. That way Uriah is sure to be killed. And Joab's like, all right, whatever. So he does it. So then you word back. Uriah is dead. He has been killed. And you're like, yay, Uriah's dead. I did it. I'm the greatest king ever of all time. Congratulations, self. And then you marry Bathsheba and you have a baby. And you're like, things are perfect. And then a prophet named Nathan comes to you and he's like, things are not good. God's really mad. He's going to kill your baby and horrible things are going to happen to you and your family. And you're like, no! How did this happen? And it all happened because you couldn't resist the temptation of looking at something you shouldn't been looking at. And 4,000 years later, we're telling your story to people today.